Hi, this is Kathy Perry, corporate energy expert, helping you power up your senior living teams so that you stay more engaged and productive and there to help your residents and the clients that you serve. So today's video, I want to talk about how to acknowledge your team's accomplishments. This is so important because I was recently listening to some senior living professionals talk about how they didn't realize that it was so important for their teams to be acknowledged. And we think about this as, well, of course we're acknowledging people. We know when they do good work, but are we really? So in today's video, I want to talk about the one thing that you might be acknowledging that is detrimental to your team's engagement, and then some of the ways you can be acknowledging them. Because nothing's more important to the people who show up every day to care for your residents or your clients than to be recognized for what they're doing. We know people leave when they feel like they are not being acknowledged. So, what is that activity that you might be acknowledging that might be detrimental to your teams? And you might not have guessed this, but researchers show that when you give a lot of energy and a lot of your time to the people who are messing up, it leaves you less time for the people who are actually doing the good things and doing things right. Well, I'm a mother of four, so this really kind of reminded me of back in the day when I was raising my children. Now, I'm not saying that the people who work for your children, but just go with me for the example. Of course, when a child does something wrong, you want to correct the behavior. But then you start to learn that maybe the child is doing something wrong for the attention or because they know it's going to be acknowledged. And then there's the child who's doing something right all the time and maybe not getting that acknowledgement because it's just what's expected. Well, child psychologists actually say always reinforce the good behaviors, because the more you reinforce and you talk about the good behaviors with children, the more they realize that's what's expected. So of course on your teams, you're going to have to give attention to reports that aren't written correctly or shifts that leave things a mess before they clock out. Yes, you have to do that, because you don't want the safety of your residents or things to go awry on a team. You have to acknowledge when things go bad. But unfortunately, we kind of get in that rut where that's where our energy and acknowledgement goes. So today I want to encourage you to kind of flip that and give more energy to acknowledging those who are doing well. Because then everybody will start to come along and say, get a little recognition when we do that well. So how are some things to do that? Best practices for acknowledging. I'm going to give you a few, and hopefully you can use these on your team. First one, always verbal, and do it to the individual. So just as you see someone doing it, walking by in a hall, thanks, great, love to see what you're doing. Just those quick verbal acknowledgements throughout the day, really reinforcing that someone's doing the right thing. Next are verbal in front of others. Now you kind of have to watch your teams on this. Some people get a little embarrassed by being acknowledged or called out in front of others, but it's okay, to say, hey, I see you doing that, or did you see that Joe really worked hard at that thing? So it kind of brings the whole team into it, right? So acknowledgement in front of others. The next, of course, is written. Just a little note. Get your bunch of sticky pads or get some notes that say, job well done. Stick it somewhere where they can see it. Actually write it, email, depending upon how you communicate with your team, what your team's on. Putting it in writing. Letting people know you see them and you appreciate what they are doing. Well, the next type of acknowledgement is moving it on up the chain. Why not let your superior know that someone on your team is doing an outstanding job or they did something really exceptional so that the acknowledgement can come from someone else? I remember one time I was with a really large organization, and we had a quality customer service initiative throughout the entire organization. It was going around 4 states. Well, I was internal and I helped someone that was in another location. And they actually wrote me up for one of these, somebody really helped me. There was a form that we could use, and that got pushed to my higher up. And he pushed it to his higher up. It went up 3 levels that I had helped someone at another location. Do you think I wasn't beaming when I got a note from the executive vice president in charge of our division that he acknowledged that he knew that I had done something? So could you do that? Could you work it up your chain so that somebody's, what they might just think of, was a small thing that they did, was actually acknowledged by the organization? So move it up. Next are team acknowledgements. So maybe it's not an individual that, did something great, but it was a team. Teams should also be acknowledged because that helps build the teams. We all want to be on the winning team, right? We all want that team experience. So maybe there's a challenge within your organization for different teams to create a winning situation where maybe it's monthly goals, maybe it's quarterly goals, maybe just weekly. How could you have team acknowledgement so people come together and work together for those goals? Next is resident acknowledgement. I love this one. I see great examples of it on social media, or you see these really heartfelt things. So it could be resident based, or it could be coming from the other way where you go out and ask the resident, hey, who really did an exceptional job this week? Was there someone that helped you? Was there someone that you would like to see acknowledged for how well they are doing? And residents do get into this because I know sometimes they get their favorites, but it also helps with that bonding between frontline workers and residents. And again, even higher up, did your, leaders walk through and really chat with residents this week? Did they help out? Did they get hands-on? So go to the residents and ask them, who should we acknowledge this week? How should we acknowledge them? And then of course there's family, because you all have families coming in and on site. You could ask them, hey, did anyone do something exceptional for you this week? Is there someone you think we should acknowledge? How should we acknowledge, or what did they do for your loved one here? Those are really important acknowledgements as well, because it makes people really understand, hey, we're not in this little silo of just frontline workers. We are a team of families, residents, and staff. Finally, what I really encourage you to do is care for your caregivers. There's all kinds of initiatives out there, but the more that we show care for one another, the more we elevate this profession as being a place we enjoy working. I've had a long career, and the story I told earlier actually happened in banking. And I've worked with banking, I've worked in accounting, I've worked with engineers. And I gotta tell you, there's a reason I work with senior living professionals. When I do my trainings, it's because I love being with caregivers. I was a caregiver myself for my special needs daughter for nearly 20 years. Caregivers are special. So make sure to acknowledge all levels of caregivers on your teams and build that culture. So if you want more tips, more tactics, more videos, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And there's some goodies in the comment section below that you can download to help your team stay energized. And until then, keep caring for each other and powering each other up. This is Kathy Perry, corporate energy expert. Thanks so much for watching.